Here's my take on how you can invest in Bitcoin as a Gen Z. Bitcoin goes into a deep rabbit hole. So I want to keep things simple and just give you straight up what you can do exactly today to start investing in Bitcoin. And then as we go further into the video, I'm going to start elaborating more on why you should do certain things and the practical next steps after that. So firstly, I would recommend just to go to a normal trusted third-party crypto exchange like Coinbase or Kraken. I would use those two. And then make an account, verify your ID and things like that. Link up your bank account, and then you can just start buying Bitcoin. But I guess the question is, I know how to buy Bitcoin, but how much should I buy? Just put in however much you can without stressing yourself. So if you're, in your 20s or just started working, put in what you feel comfortable, but would make you start looking into Bitcoin more, whether that's $100 or $1,000 or $10,000 or even $10. Just put in something so that you can be incentivized to learn more. And now you have Bitcoin sitting on the exchange. And that's step number one. Now you technically have some money put into what's technically tracking the Bitcoin price. You don't actually own that Bitcoin yet, but you have some skin in the game. Now that you have some skin in the game, you might be curious, why is it that I don't actually own this Bitcoin even though I put money into it? That's because in cryptocurrencies, including in Bitcoin and Ethereum and XRP and everything else, there's something called a private key. You can think of it like the master key to your house. If you know what that master key is, you can successfully go into that house or go into that account that you have sitting with a bunch of Bitcoin on there and then be able to spend that money. But when you buy things on Coinbase or Kraken, they make it really easy for you to purchase and put in money into Bitcoin, but you don't actually know what your master key is because they take care of that for you on the back end. So all you see is the number goes up or down, but you don't actually have the authority to spend that money without any third party. You're trusting on Coinbase or Kraken to actually follow through with whatever amount that you want to send to someone else when you're ready to do that. See, now you can already tell that, we're going into a deeper rabbit hole, but to keep things simple, in the short term, in the near term, you'll probably be fine keeping your money on Coinbase or Kraken. Just know that there have been several incidents of other companies that help you buy and sell cryptocurrencies, and they've gone out of business, and then all your money is gone with it. That's something called third-party risk. You're putting your money onto a third party, and that third party is the one that's responsible for taking care of that money and allowing you to spend it within their management. On this video, I'm not going to cover in depth the next few steps on how to practically own Bitcoin, but I'll just quickly put it out there so that you can do your own research. But if you're a complete beginner investing in Bitcoin at this stage, I would just say, just keep your money on the exchange for now until you are more educated on these next few steps I'm about to tell you. So the next few steps involve you actually owning that Bitcoin that you bought instead of keeping it on the exchange. You can do that by moving it over to some kind of vault, or in Bitcoin, we call it wallets. It basically means an account where you actually know what the master key is to that wallet, to that account. And at this point, if you consider yourself more of a technically savvy person, then I would recommend just going straight into learning about what cold storage is, in particular with a device called the Coldcard Mark V or Coldcard Q. These devices help you manage what your master key is without having that master key ever be exposed to the internet or ever touch a computer keyboard. And the important thing here is to never show anyone the master key to your house. Never take a screenshot of it, never upload it anywhere, never type it into a keyboard, never connect it to any device that may be connected to the internet. And that's why people go through such lengths to keep their money off of the exchange and in a place where the master key will never touch the internet. So that's called cold storage. And that would be something I would look into, but not actually do until you're comfortable with the technical aspects of it. If you're curious, I can cover how to do these steps more in depth in other videos, but there's a lot of people out there who do these kinds of tutorials, and I will link a tutorial that I found very helpful to me in the description. Now that we have the more technical and practical steps out of the way, I'm going to cover more on a high level why Bitcoin is the way it is and how it even works as money. It's a lot to go into. So in this video, I just want to give you one historical example that I find very fascinating, and it's about a group of people living on an island who used a form of money where it was very communal and public. So in the mid 1800s, there was an island that's kind of close to America, I think. And these people, what they would do is their form of money was a huge stone that they would put right in the middle of their town square. They would bring it over from a faraway island because these stones were very hard to acquire within their own island. So they would have to travel far on a boat and then bring back these huge stones back on their boat. What they would do is they would plop that huge stone in the middle of their town square where everyone would see, okay, these people brought these stones So that is their possession and that it belongs to them. Essentially, everyone was a witness to the amount of work that was done for those men to go out and bring back that big rock. And because everyone was able to verify for themselves exactly how much money was in the system and how much this one particular person owned in terms of what size stone they had, it was basically impossible for someone random to just come in and say that this stone actually belongs to them. They were not the ones that brought the stones from that island. And this is a very, very different monetary system than the one that we use today, mainly because of this witness system, where everyone can verify with their own two eyes exactly who this money belongs to and exactly how much money is in the current economy in the island. When someone wants to, let's say, buy a house on this island, the person who owns that stone can stand in front of everyone else in the town square and verbally declare that they hand over the possession of this stone to that other person in exchange for a house. And they do this in front of a crowd of people so that everyone knows and everyone is a witness to this transfer of ownership. In our current economy, we use a centralized monetary system where one entity called the US Federal Reserve, or basically the US government, declares how much money is going to be in the system and who owns it. That's why you have certain things like inflation rates and interest rates. The US government just sets an arbitrary value for how much money is going to be in the system. But compared to the people of the island who had to physically go out and earn that money to bring it into the system, the US government doesn't have to do any of that. All they need to do is make a click of a button. They can increase the total money supply flowing into the US economy. Because the US government is the central authority that declares exactly how much money is going to be in the system, us as individuals, we are not able to individually verify with our own two eyes how much money is in the system exactly. It's just not possible. We can't count how many dollars there are flowing in the United States system, how much money there is exactly in the entire world economy. If you think back to our example of the people on that island who were able to individually view with their own two eyes whether someone was tricking them into saying that this money actually belongs to them even if they don't own it, or if someone were to lie to them and say that they actually brought in more money than they did without paying the dues, without paying the required effort necessary to bring that money over into the island. So to bring everything back and tie everything together, this is exactly what Bitcoin is like. Bitcoin is kind of like that monetary system where everyone can individually see for themselves exactly how much money is there, as opposed to the traditional sense of how we think money works, where a central authority tells us how much money there is, and we just have to accept it and trust them without being able to fully verify ourselves. Another cool thing about people who choose to enter into this Bitcoin monetary system is that they can verify exactly what transactions were made from the beginning of Bitcoin all the way through today. You can download that entire transaction history, the entire history of Bitcoin, and all the things that happened on there onto a hard drive for around 600 gigabytes. I know this video was to be more of a practical guide on how to invest in Bitcoin, but I think most of what is involved in investing in Bitcoin is actually knowing why you should and what you can reasonably expect or what you're actually investing in terms of the philosophical side, not just wanting to see the price go up. Now, since you're choosing to own your own money, since you're choosing to be able to directly send from you to another person through a currency called Bitcoin, which runs on a monetary system that you yourself can verify exactly how much money there is, exactly who is spending what amount. No government can arbitrarily inflate the money supply, therefore stealing away your portion of your wealth, your portion of the energy that you've put into the system, meaning everything is verifiable and public. The responsibility is on you to take care of that master key that we were talking about earlier, because if you don't own that master key, if you forget the master key, or if you leak it to someone, then that money can no longer be yours. It's at risk for a hacker to come and take it. Trust me, I've had over $3,000 of my cryptocurrency hacked from me because I kept it on an unsafe wallet on the internet. So now I keep all of my cryptocurrency on cold storage and some on exchanges until I am comfortable enough sending a certain amount over to my cold storage. Quickly, I want to mention one thing about why Bitcoin and why not other cryptocurrencies like XRP, Ethereum, Dogecoin, Degen coin, meme coins. Why not those? It's because cryptocurrency is nothing special in and of itself. It's just a technology. But that technology is trying to express a monetary system. So the monetary system that you're putting your money into is the important thing, not the cryptocurrency. If you invest in something like Ethereum or XRP, those have different monetary policies, a different way in which money circulates throughout that system compared to how money circulates through the US dollar, compared to how money circulates through Bitcoin. In this video, we talked about how Bitcoin is the one that has a very robust and solid monetary system that people can't mess with. But other cryptocurrencies such as Ethereum have no set supply cap, meaning it's just like the US dollar, kind of, where the supply of money can be increased forever, as opposed to Bitcoin, where there's only 21 million Bitcoin ever, which you may have heard of several times before. In regards to XRP, as far as I'm aware, XRP also has a fixed money supply. That doesn't mean it's the same way it works with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, you have to actually do the work to bring over that money into the system, to mine new Bitcoins, as they call it. With XRP, everything is pre-mined, everything is already in the system, but the early adopters, the insiders of XRP actually hold most of the wealth. So at any moment, they can just dump it on you. Any moment, they can sell it, causing the price to go down. And if you're a holder of XRP, you may see the price go down and never come back up again because of how the monetary system works. So for now, I just want to leave you with, stick with learning how Bitcoin works, stick with learning how money works. Now, this was just a high-level overview of a mix of practical steps and some philosophical / theoretical reasons why you should be investing in Bitcoin. Please leave a comment below what section of this that you would like me to expand upon, and I'll cover it in the next video. Thanks for watching.